Hello and welcome back to another video. And this week we are now doing the top 10 moments of 1989. That's right, the first time the EastEnders reached its difficult period. There was a change in producers, a bit of a change in direction, and I think the viewers thought it was all a bit boring. But I did manage to get a top 10, believe it or not, so stay with me on this one because from 1990 the quality goes back up again. But let's begin with number 10, which is of course the monumental moment in Arthur Fowler's storyline where he got accepted onto a game show. It was a made-up game show called Cat and Mouse, and he won enough money to take him and Pauline away on holiday. It was a bit of a random storyline, this. It wasn't a real game show, but it's a bit of fun, isn't it? And I needed 10 moments.
Yours is the Stilton. He's been after Joan's nibbly bits all day. Just won't leave the women alone.
That's what happens when they get on television. It goes to their head.
In at number 9 now, we have the beginning of quite a long-running storyline where Cindy and Simon start their affair. Obviously, Ian Beale is married to Cindy and he's not treating her that well. But lucky for her, Simon Wicks was on hand at the Vic to give her a bit of a bunk. There's something about that sofa in the Vic, isn't there? It's where Stephen was conceived, and we begin a very long 2-year storyline of Ian, Cindy and Simon's love triangle.
Ian!
Yeah, mate.
That's for me, mate. You shouldn't have.
Yeah, well, I saw the light was on. I thought I'd see if Cindy was still here.
Yeah, I think so. I think she's gone to the toilet, Ian. Cindy? Cindy, are you in there? Ian's arrived.
I'll be out in a sec.
In at number 8 now, we have the ending to Carmel and Matthew's domestic violence storyline, where he has been gradually getting more and more violent towards Carmel, the social worker, who's actually training in speaking to people who are going through domestic violence. But obviously, it's a bit different when it's happening to you at home. She couldn't even see the signs herself. She does eventually try to stand up to Matthew, and when her nephew, Junior, sees that Matthew is being violent towards her, he ends up stabbing Matthew as a way to get him off of his Aunt Carmel. Of course, not all of this is actually seen on screen back in the day, but the ramifications of it were quite serious. The first domestic violence storyline EastEnders ever tackled, and they did it with quite a lot of heart.
So come on, tell me what happened next? What happened next?
I swear to God, our relationship is purely professional.
Professional.
Just leave her alone.
Shut up and get out.
Just leave her alone. She weren't doing nothing.
In at number 7 now, we have Marge Green, who a lot of people might not remember. She was only on the show for a year, but she was a woman who spent her whole life caring for her mother. She never gave in to love, she never had her own relationships or friendships, and she gets taken away on a weekend with Mo, Dot and Ethel. She meets a man there who seems to be the perfect man. He loves her, he's caring, and he wants her to come live with him and start a new life together. It's almost like a holiday romance. Unfortunately, Marge gets a phone call that her mum has actually passed away. So, with nothing left attached to her, it seems like there's no reason for her to not go with the man. But unfortunately, she just can't bring herself to give herself any happiness. Poor Marge. Even with her exit storyline, she ends up caring for someone again who's not even nice to her, so bless her.
Please, look, I must explain.
No, there's no need. I must apologise again.
You don't understand. It's not what you think. It's always been like this. Always. I've never had a life of my own. I've always had to think of Mother. I can't desert her. I just can't.
No, Marjorie, I know you're only trying to make me
Oh,
feel
but it's
better.
true, it's true.
In at number 6 now, we have the first time that Den was murdered. Or dead. That's right, he came to the end of his contract, filmed all his scenes in Dickens Hill Prison, and they gave him his exit in 1989, even though he left the year previous. He's at the canal, having a last moment with Michelle before she leaves. Den walks past a couple, and they're holding some daffodils. You see a gunshot, and you hear a body fall into the river. Of course, this was a big moment behind the scenes because Julia Smith actually took her name off the credits because she wanted to show Den's body, but the BBC vetoed it, saying that they could bring him back one day. And of course, that one day did eventually arrive, but not for a while. In at number 5 now, coming back from one earlier, we've got Cindy and Simon, and she tells Simon that he is actually the father to Stephen and not Ian. This is the beginning of the second part of their storyline where Ian finds out and he goes all home wrecker on them. But that's in a few months' time. But this was quite another big moment of 1989 and part of Cindy's long affair journey.
It's funny being here with you again, after closing. Just the two of us.
What's all this about, Cindy?
Me, you, the baby, our baby.
In at number 4, we have Sue's exit after she has a mental breakdown when Ali is trying to break up with her and take the child from her. We last see Sue in the mental hospital, and before that she has some scenes at the grave of her baby Hassan, who died many years earlier. Sadly, things behind the scenes again weren't too great with the actress of Sue, so her exit scenes are filmed quite quickly and quite rushed. She had months at a time where she was off screen, but her final performance gives us a little reminder just how great she could be.
Ali! Hey! Hey! Ali! Ali! Hey! Oh, get away from me! Guy, don't touch me! It was you to my baby! Get away from me! All of you, get away!
In at number 3 now, we have our lovely Donna Ludlow, who has announced that she is Kathy's daughter, been rejected by her, and she is now staying at Dot's. Unfortunately for Dot, when she leaves Donna for just a few moments, Donna takes the opportunity to take some drugs. And when Dot returns home, unfortunately, she finds Donna lying on the floor in what could be one of the most realistic and gruesome deaths I've ever seen on EastEnders, and this was years ago. You know, there's no CGI, there's no sound effects needed. It is just the hard-hitting reality of a young girl who's had a drug overdose.
Donna?
In at number 2, we have a very long-running moment where Sharon finally finds out that the father to Vicky is actually her dad, Den. This obviously takes Michelle and Sharon's friendship to a whole new level, and we get gifted a lovely two-hander between the pair, where they go through their life, their friendship, they argue, they slap, they run away, they shout, and they make up all in one go. It's a really good episode where it is just pure character driven, and the payoff is so good because we've been waiting about 4 years for this to come out, and it finally does.
That girl on the canal bank, it was me.
What?
It was me.
What were you doing there?
Seeing Den.
Why?
Den's Vicky's father.
And in at number 1, we have the wonderful moment, actually happy moment of EastEnders, which is very rare, and it is Pat and Frank's wedding day. And they have a proper old-fashioned Cockney London wedding on the streets of Albert Square. And all the characters are coming out for this and they're happy. There's baked eels, Pete Bill's moaning about the London food, Ethel's doing high kicks on a tin. It's just amazing. And it's one of those moments where it is just a pure, fun, happy moment, which is so rare in EastEnders, and that is why I had to put it at number 1, because I still remember it now to this day as being how fun it was. And the picture of Frank and Pat's wedding always pops up whenever they need to remind everyone of its rich history.
No wonder Mo gets stum, eh?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to a very good friend of mine, Mrs. Frank Butcher!
So there you go, those were my personal top 10 moments of 1989. But of course, if you disagree or agree, that's great. Let me know in the comments below, because I love seeing what everyone's top moments were. Obviously 1989 was a bit of a dodgy year, but we are on the up for our next video when we go into 1990. So make sure you like this video, give a comment below and let me know some of your top moments of this year. And remember to subscribe, because these videos are going to be coming out very often. Anyway, until next time, Bye.